Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Taurus October 2016 horoscope forecast. So let me get started. Well, firstly, I want to tell you that it does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for Taurus. Well, let me get started. First thing is the Sun will be in Libra from October 1st through October 22nd. And this, of course, highlights the sixth house for Taurus. Well, this could be a time of continued collaborative efforts at work, doing things with others at work, negotiation, compromise, and diplomacy could very well be focal point at work during this time. Having that balanced diet, perhaps doing things that are fair, you think are fair to your health during this time, being of service to others could be very prominent during this time. The Sun will be in Scorpio from October 22nd to the 31st. And during this time, well, the seventh house is what's highlighted, of course, for Taurus and emphasized. And this could be a time where there could be a strong concentration of energy, perhaps with a significant other. If you're married, that marriage partner. This could be time where you show a lot of energy, maybe in getting to the bottom of things. It could even be solving a mystery with a significant other, perhaps during this time. It could indicate perhaps increased popularity since the seventh house is highlighted and emphasized, and it could be with people that could be maybe it might even be with somebody that's got Scorpio prominent in his or her chart, or somebody that embodies Scorpio-like characteristics, somebody that could be very mysterious, maybe a powerful person, intense, somebody that's very resourceful, and maybe people that are into a Scorpio-like field, such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, forensic psychology. Well, anyway, Mercury will be in Virgo from October 1st to October 7th. And during this time, of course, the fifth house is what's highlighted for Taurus. And this could be a time of a lot of analytical and intellectual communication, perhaps with children and romantic partners during this time. But be careful not to become overly pedantic and overwordy with them as well, and not to be overly judgmental and critical during this time, or overanalyze things connected with romantic and love in situations with children. Now, Mercury will be in Libra from October 7th to the 24th. And this could be a time, of course, the sixth house is what's highlighted and what's emphasized for Taurus. And during this time, there could be a lot of diplomatic, tactful communications with people at work, being very fair-minded. It could be a lot of communication where you're negotiating with them, finding fair solutions to things. And also, maybe it's time where you're thinking of getting that balanced diet, right? Or something, being fair. You might be thinking of being fair to your health, and this is a time where you may actually do so during this period. Well, also, Mercury will be in Scorpio from the 24th to the 31st of this month. And this could be a time where you might, because the seventh house is what's highlighted, and this is Mercury in Scorpio, maybe there's some aversion to relinquish some power in relationships during this time. This could be a time where your mind might be thinking of being in power and control of them. And really, this is also a bit with Mercury in Scorpio. It could also be communications connected with things connected with Scorpio with a significant other, such as astrology, such as things connected with psychology, perhaps the occult, supernatural, and those communications with significant others. And even there might even be some discussions with perhaps open adversaries, maybe somebody or you could be in a legal battle with, that could be very deep and intense and could even be caustic and sarcastic during this time. So anyway, well, Venus will be in Scorpio from the 1st to the 18th in October, and this could be a time where you might really, Venus, I mean, it's not just about love, it's about money as well. Maybe you buy something Scorpio-like for that significant other during this time. Maybe you might even get money from some kind of legal matter. Maybe that comes to an end during this time. This could be maybe expressing a strong love for a Scorpio-like thing with a perhaps with a significant other, such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, for example. Now, Venus will be in Sagittarius from the 18th to the 31st of October. As far as October goes, that will be the 18th to the 31st for Venus in Sagittarius. And, of course, the 8th house is what is emphasized and what is highlighted. Well, during this time, this could be perhaps a strong love and adventure and maybe outdoors with perhaps somebody that you might be involved with in a sexual or intimate relationship. This could be perhaps maybe some transformation. You may go through some kind of love of sports. And anyway, the next thing to look at is that Mars is going to be in Capricorn for this entire month, and the 9th house is what is emphasized for Taurus. Well, this could be a time perhaps for Taurus where there might be some situations, perhaps with grandchildren if you have them, or in-laws if applicable, that might be somewhat contentious. But being in Capricorn, this will add some discipline and control to this. And even though, I mean, the situation might be a little bit disputatious with them, like I said, you have the discipline control with Capricorn, and you might aggressively pursue, show a lot of initiative and enterprise in matters connected with higher learning and education and long distance traveling. But being in premeditative Capricorn and prudent, cautious Capricorn, there'll be a lot of forethought prior to this, most likely. Now, Jupiter will be in Libra for this month and for some time after that, and of course the 6th house is what's highlighted for Taurus. Now, this could show a lot of exuberance and expansive energy in work-related matters with health, and matters connected with service, and also even maybe doing things in your general daily routine. And it's also about finding that Libra balance with all this, I believe, as well. And it could be expanding work relationships during this time for Taurus. So those are some things to look at and keep in mind, people, that Jupiter could be paradoxical. So if you get, like, say, if Jupiter is making an inconjunct, say, to your ascendant, or if say you have Taurus ascendant, like I do, and let's say that Jupiter, okay, is actually in your 6th house, it's making an inconjunct to your ascendant. This could indicate perhaps some health-related issues during that time when it makes that inconjunct aspect, and it could be from something connected with even overexertion at work, perhaps, or doing something connected with fitness, overdoing it. So those are just something to consider. And anyway, well, Saturn will be in Sagittarius for this month of October as well. And of course, the 8th house is what is emphasized and what is highlighted for Taurus. And this could be a period of taking responsibility with debts, money owed. Being in Sagittarius, maybe this could be connected with something associated with higher education, perhaps. And it could be things you may have purchased on credit that now you have to take care of and be responsible for. But at the same time, there could be structure and discipline in 8th house matters as well, such as sex and such as things connected with others' resources. This could be a time where you're taking responsibility for that. If you had owed someone some money, for example, or you would use something somebody else had, this could be a time now taking that responsibility for it. Sagittarius also is about higher knowledge, so this could be something where maybe you take some interest in something in higher knowledge connected with the 8th house, such as astrology, psychology, forensics. Anyway, well, Uranus will be in Aries still, of course, will be there for some time. And of course, the 12th house is what is emphasized and what is highlighted for Taurus. So this could indicate some tumult, some chaos in your private life right now. There might be some, maybe you have an unusual interest in the metaphysical during this time. Maybe you have some new ideas connected with it. Keep in mind, Uranus is in pioneering Aries, and Uranus is about innovation and ingenuity. This could be private ingenuity, but you might experience some disruptions in sleep during this time, and Taurus doesn't really like that. Taurus is very stable and likes to be able to have their nice, peaceful, calm sleeping patterns, but I think Uranus can cause some problems with this. I know I have Uranus transiting my 12th house right now, so I could understand this. You might feel that maybe your freedom might be restricted or prohibited as well too during this time, Taurus. So, well, the next thing we'll talk about, okay, Neptune will be in Pisces for this month, of course, and the 11th house is what is highlighted and emphasized. Well, this could be a period for Taurus. Well, there might be some disillusionment, some delusion in matters connected with friends, with acquaintances, maybe even some group involvement, but at the same time, you might be interested in groups that are associated, like perhaps with the metaphysical, perhaps spirituality, and really, this could be a time where you might show a lot of idealism in matters connected with friends, connected with groups and organizations, with acquaintances, but at the same time, you might experience some delusion, some deception as well. And Neptune could be about dissolving and dissipation. And I've been losing some friends during this time off my Facebook page during this time that Neptune has been in my 11th house and intercepted 11th house, mind you. So anyway, but you might also show some idealism and connections with your aspirations and goals during this time as well. Well, now Pluto will be in Capricorn during this time, and of course will be there for some years after this. And the 9th house is what is emphasized and highlighted for Taurus. Well, during this time, you might have perhaps continued transformation, perhaps maybe in matters connected with religion. It might be some philosophical outlook that's transformed during this time. In some isolated cases, it could indicate a death. I know you don't want to hear that dreaded D word, a lot of you, but we are talking about the 9th house. Pluto is connected with death. 9th house is associated with in-laws and grandchildren. There could be a death. I think it increases that propensity for that during this time. A death of an in-law or grandchild perhaps during this time. Perhaps even through some kind of long distance traveling during this time. Also, right now the North Node is in Virgo for this month of October, and the 5th house is what is emphasized for Taurus. So this could be a time of a lot of review and a lot of using that Virgo analysis in matters pertaining to romance, to things you do that are enjoyable, your fun and amusement, and maybe even matters with children if you do have them during this time. And this could be that time where your karmic mission and purpose could be strongly connected with analytical, intellectual amusement and enjoyment for Taurus. Now, Chiron is in Pisces during this time, and the 11th house is what is emphasized and highlighted for Taurus. Well, this could be a time where you might experience some emotional wounds and suffering, maybe some despondency connected with friends, connected with that Pisces disillusionment, maybe even betrayal, maybe even deception at this time. At the same time, you might be able to heal and help others in matters connected with friends during this time, and maybe even helping them find the right groups, the right outlets, maybe even being in Pisces, maybe even spiritual ones or ones connected with the metaphysical, maybe ones that involve a lot of that Pisces self-sacrifice, such as helping those less fortunate than others, like the oppressed, the homeless, the impoverished. And another thing to look at now, okay, the Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio, and the 7th house is what's highlighted and emphasized for Taurus during this time. Well, this could indicate perhaps uninhibited sexual erotic expression, perhaps with the significant other, or the significant other may express that during this time. And it could also indicate some vacillation, perhaps in whether to have a sustained, protracted relationship in, or to just be alone and perhaps by yourself during this time. So anyway, last but not least, I'm going to talk about the new moon in Scorpio, and of course that will be on October 30th, and it will highlight and emphasize the 7th house for Taurus. And this could be a time perhaps of, as far as an emotional need, maybe embarking on something new that's Scorpio-like, connected with a significant other, such as maybe doing something, or maybe in a partnership situation, such as astrology, such as something with the occult, supernatural, even something with psychology perhaps. And this could also be a time where it might be the beginning perhaps of a relationship that satisfies an emotional need that is not superficial, something that is very passionate, that's very intense, and really something that will satisfy that emotional need during this time. And anyway, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the Taurus October 2016 horoscope forecast. And stay tuned next time, where I will be continuing my series on Chiron transiting the houses. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.